Olivia was the epitome of a devoted wife, her days consumed with preparing for the arrival of her twins and maintaining what appeared to everyone as a flawless marriage. Married to Nathaniel, a charismatic and successful entrepreneur, she lived in a luxurious home that friends often described as a dream come true. Every corner reflected their anticipation and happiness, the nursery meticulously decorated in soft pastel tones, gifts arranged neatly, and baby clothes folded with care. Family gatherings were filled with laughter, compliments on Nathaniel's charm, and admiration for the seemingly perfect couple. Yet behind the polished smiles, Olivia sensed a subtle unease. Nathaniel's late nights were frequent, his explanations vague, often citing business meetings or client dinners. Sometimes, she noticed him answering calls in hushed tones, quickly stepping away, leaving her with a fleeting sense of insecurity. Olivia tried to dismiss these moments, attributing them to work stress or normal marital fatigue. Despite the love she felt for him, a quiet anxiety lingered. She could not shake the feeling that something was amiss. Still, she persisted in maintaining appearances. She smiled for family photos, offered warm hospitality to visitors, and carefully hid the fluttering doubts she felt in her heart. Olivia's mind oscillated between hope and suspicion. She imagined a life filled with the laughter of her children, weekend walks, and evenings of cozy togetherness. Yet, every time Nathaniel appeared distracted or secretive, a tiny seed of worry planted itself in her thoughts. She continued to reassure herself, hoping her instincts were mistaken and convincing herself that Nathaniel, despite his charm and occasional distance, loved her and their children. To the outside world, everything was perfect, and Olivia's devotion masked the small cracks forming quietly beneath the surface, cracks that would soon widen in ways she could never have imagined. As the weeks passed, Olivia's unease grew more persistent. Nathaniel's unusual behaviors became harder to ignore. He avoided phone calls when she entered the room, often hastily ending conversations or leaving abruptly. Messages disappeared, emails were closed as she walked by, and he became fiercely protective of his devices. Olivia tried rationalizing, perhaps it was stress, or maybe her pregnancy was amplifying insecurities, but deep down, the nagging feeling of suspicion remained. Even friends began noticing subtle changes in Olivia's demeanor. She was quieter, distracted, and hesitant to share details of her daily life. They assumed she was simply anxious about her pregnancy or overthinking typical marital disagreements. Nathaniel's public charm further complicated matters. At events, he was the perfect husband, attentive, loving, and admired by all. Olivia knew that confronting him directly risked making her appear paranoid or jealous, which could provoke defensiveness or anger. Yet, she could no longer ignore the small signs accumulating around her. Subtle hints emerged, mysterious keys left in unusual places, drawers that appeared locked when they hadn't been before, hushed phone calls she accidentally overheard. She began noticing patterns too precise to be coincidental, feeling that every sudden movement or whispered conversation was part of a larger secret she was not meant to uncover. Olivia's mind raced with possibilities, oscillating between fear of the unknown and hope that she was misreading the situation. Despite attempts to maintain composure, her anxiety manifested physically, tightness in her chest, interrupted sleep, and the constant tension in her shoulders. Each small inconsistency seemed like a warning sign, and she became hyper-aware of every glance Nathaniel gave her, every unexpected absence, and every protective gesture around his phone or personal space. Slowly, the illusion of the perfect marriage began to erode, replaced by a growing sense of vigilance, fear, and the realization that the life she had imagined might not exist at all. The afternoon sunlight streamed through the bedroom curtains as Olivia entered, expecting an empty room. Nathaniel had told her he was attending a business meeting, and she had assumed, as always, that he would be back later in the evening. But what she saw made her heart seize in disbelief. There, on the bed, Nathaniel was intimately involved with two women, Jade and Sabrina, their presence undeniable and the betrayal instantaneous. Olivia froze, her mind struggling to process the scene. Every rational thought was replaced by a torrent of emotions, shock, disbelief, anger, and a profound sense of hurt that made her chest ache. The world seemed to tilt, and for a moment, she could not breathe. Fear and panic surged, her pregnancy amplified the adrenaline coursing through her body. She retreated quietly, heart pounding, unsure whether to confront him immediately or gather proof of what she had seen. Every instinct screamed danger, but a part of her desperately wanted an explanation, some rational reason for this impossible scene. The betrayal cut deeper than she could have imagined. Nathaniel, the man she loved and trusted, had shattered the image of their perfect marriage in a single moment. Thoughts raced. What would this mean for her unborn twins, for the life they had planned, and for her own safety? The room felt suffocating, the sunlight mocking her disbelief as she inched toward the door, retreating to a safer space where she could think. Olivia realized this moment changed everything. The foundation of trust, the dreams of family happiness, and the sense of security she had clung to were all fractured. She had walked into a nightmare she never anticipated, and now, she faced the difficult choice of confronting the truth, ensuring her safety, and protecting the life growing within her. The gravity of the situation settled over her, heavy and unrelenting, as she took a trembling breath, bracing herself for what would come next. Summoning every ounce of courage, Olivia turned back to confront Nathaniel. Her voice trembled but carried determination as she demanded answers. Nathaniel, caught off guard, reacted with a mix of anger, defensiveness, and dismissive charm. He attempted to gaslight her, claiming she had misinterpreted the situation, insisting that her mind was overreacting and that she was imagining things. Olivia, however, refused to be intimidated or manipulated. She demanded honesty and accountability, refusing to allow her fear or love to silence her. Their argument escalated, voices rising, words sharpened with betrayal and hurt. Nathaniel's attempts to deflect blame revealed the depth of his dishonesty, the ease with which he had woven deception into their life together. Olivia felt a storm of emotions, fear at the audacity of his betrayal, disbelief that the man she trusted could act so callously, and determination to stand her ground. Every sentence, every denial, was met with her steady insistence on truth. The confrontation, though emotionally exhausting, solidified Olivia's resolve. She understood that maintaining silence or passivity would only endanger her and her unborn children further. The room seemed charged with tension as the confrontation revealed the stark contrast between appearance and reality, love and manipulation. Olivia's realization was clear: she could no longer cling to the illusion of a perfect marriage. The man she had trusted implicitly had chosen deception and betrayal, and now she needed to make critical decisions about her safety, her family, and the path forward. In that tense moment, Olivia embraced both her fear and her courage, determined not to be silenced or controlled. Olivia's hands shook as she dialed her sister Vanessa's number, the weight of betrayal pressing down on her chest. When Vanessa picked up, Olivia's voice wavered with heartbreak and disbelief as she recounted the shocking discovery of Nathaniel with 2 women. Vanessa listened attentively, her voice calm but firm, offering both emotional support and practical guidance. She insisted Olivia prioritize her safety and the well-being of her unborn child, emphasizing that love could not justify ignoring danger. Encouraged by Vanessa's unwavering support, Olivia felt a mixture of relief and renewed anxiety. She then reached out to her parents, who were horrified by the revelation. Their anger and concern were immediate and intense, a protective instinct kicking in as they questioned how Nathaniel could betray Olivia so deeply. Family discussions quickly shifted from shock to strategy, focusing on securing Olivia's safety, documenting the betrayal meticulously, and determining the next steps for legal and personal protection. Olivia's emotional state oscillated rapidly, waves of heartbreak and despair washed over her, followed by surges of fear and the rising determination to assert control over the situation. Every conversation reminded her of the duality of her experience: vulnerability from deep emotional hurt, and growing strength from the protective support surrounding her. The realization that she was not alone in confronting Nathaniel's deception provided a sense of empowerment, even as she grappled with the lingering sadness of betrayal. Olivia's mind was a whirlwind of scenarios, emotions, and plans, but one truth became clear: she needed to act decisively to ensure her safety and that of her unborn children. In confiding her pain, Olivia not only unburdened herself but also mobilized a network of protection, marking the beginning of her journey from victimhood to self-empowerment. Understanding the danger of confronting Nathaniel without proof, Olivia began systematically collecting evidence of his deceit. She started with her phone, carefully saving suspicious messages, screenshots of secret communications, and timestamps of calls that coincided with unusual absences. Every transaction that seemed out of place, whether financial or digital, was recorded in meticulous detail. The irony was not lost on Olivia that the security cameras Nathaniel had installed for his own protection now became her allies. She reviewed footage that inadvertently captured clandestine meetings and unusual behavior, each clip strengthening her case and providing undeniable proof of betrayal. The process was emotionally taxing. Reliving Nathaniel's duplicity through messages, calls, and videos caused fresh waves of anger, grief, and anxiety, especially knowing her unborn children were being affected by the stress. Yet, Olivia pressed on, understanding that documentation was essential for her safety and potential legal proceedings. She created secure digital folders and physical copies hidden in trusted locations, knowing Nathaniel's charm and manipulation could escalate to more dangerous acts if he sensed suspicion. Olivia's vigilance extended to noting his routines, the times he was absent, and any unusual behaviors that hinted at ongoing interactions with Jade and Sabrina. While each step took mental and emotional energy, it also empowered her, providing a tangible sense of control in a situation dominated by deceit. Olivia recognized that evidence was not merely a legal tool but a shield against further manipulation. By carefully gathering proof, she not only prepared for confrontation but also fortified her resolve to protect herself and her unborn children. Each recorded message, each snapshot from the cameras, was a building block in reclaiming her autonomy and preparing to confront the truth without fear. Nathaniel, aware that Olivia's suspicions were growing, escalated his psychological tactics. He alternated between charm and veiled threats, carefully crafting moments designed to make her doubt her own perception. One moment, he promised he would change, swearing the affair was inconsequential, insisting that the women were harmless distractions. The next, he implied that Olivia was imagining situations, exaggerating concerns, and risking their family harmony. Each interaction left her emotionally drained yet hyper-aware. Olivia recognized the classic patterns of psychological abuse, isolation, gaslighting, and emotional destabilization. She saw through the attempts to erode her confidence, understanding that his words were tools to maintain control and prevent accountability. Her pregnancy heightened her awareness of vulnerability and urgency, emphasizing the need to safeguard both herself and her unborn children. Conversations with Nathaniel became exercises in restraint, as she carefully responded without revealing panic while mentally noting every tactic he used to manipulate her. Olivia sought guidance from Vanessa and her parents, discussing Nathaniel's patterns and obtaining advice from trusted legal and psychological professionals. She realized that resisting his manipulation required both strategy and emotional fortitude. Each calculated interaction served as a reminder that trust had been breached and that her focus needed to shift entirely toward protection. Olivia's resolve strengthened with each attempt by Nathaniel to confuse or intimidate her. She understood that manipulation could not be allowed to dictate her actions, and she actively reinforced boundaries while documenting behaviors. The psychological warfare, though exhausting, ultimately sharpened her instincts, guiding her toward decisive actions. Olivia embraced a dual approach, observing Nathaniel's tactics while strategically planning steps to secure her safety. The pregnancy intensified the stakes, but also crystallized her determination to act wisely, protect her children, and reclaim control over her life from the man who had betrayed her. With the support of Vanessa and her parents, Olivia initiated a comprehensive safety plan. They began by identifying secure locations where she could stay if Nathaniel reacted aggressively, including trusted friends' homes and discreet rental properties. Emergency contacts were established, from local authorities to family members ready to intervene at a moment's notice. Olivia discreetly packed essentials, clothing, identification, financial documents, and medical records, ensuring she could leave at a moment's notice without alerting Nathaniel. Legal advisors were contacted to understand restraining orders, custody rights, and measures to prevent further manipulation. Every precaution was meticulously mapped out, from escape routes within the home to transportation arrangements that would minimize risk. The planning process, though stressful, provided Olivia with a measure of empowerment, restoring a sense of control in a situation dominated by deception and betrayal. She rehearsed possible scenarios, from heated confrontations to unexpected attempts by Nathaniel to regain contact, mentally preparing for the rapid execution of her plan. Each step reinforced the understanding that preparation was her strongest defense, especially as her pregnancy heightened the vulnerability of both herself and her unborn twins. Olivia coordinated with Vanessa to maintain constant communication, ensuring that someone was aware of her movements at all times. Technology played a role as well. Phones were kept charged, emergency apps activated, and security cameras monitored. The process demanded careful balance. She needed to maintain appearances to avoid arousing Nathaniel's suspicion while simultaneously laying the groundwork for a safe exit. By creating this comprehensive safety plan, Olivia reclaimed a degree of autonomy, transforming fear into strategic action. Her diligence and forethought ensured that if the worst occurred, she would be ready to protect herself and her children without hesitation. In this preparation, Olivia discovered resilience she hadn't fully realized she possessed, blending courage with tactical foresight. Olivia realized that keeping Nathaniel's betrayal hidden only gave him more power. With guidance from Vanessa and legal advisors, she carefully began sharing the truth with a select group of trusted friends and family members. Each conversation was deliberate, balancing the need to warn others while ensuring her own safety. Olivia described not only the shocking discovery of Nathaniel with Jade and Sabrina but also the patterns of deceit and manipulation that had plagued their marriage. Her goal was not revenge but to create a protective network and prevent further manipulation. A private lawyer became her ally, helping to document every statement and communication, ensuring her account had legal weight. Olivia's careful exposure allowed her to gauge reactions, confirm the credibility of her story, and prepare for potential public or legal scrutiny. Each disclosure was emotionally taxing, reopening wounds of betrayal and heartbreak. Yet, it also strengthened her resolve. Friends offered support, confirming what she had feared yet needed validation for. Nathaniel's behavior was indeed dangerous and manipulative. This selective exposure also served as a deterrent, signaling to Nathaniel that attempts to cover up or manipulate the narrative would not succeed. Olivia's awareness of the delicate balance between revealing the truth and maintaining safety guided every action. Through these measured steps, she began to reclaim control over her life, building a foundation for legal action while protecting her emotional well-being and the safety of her unborn child. As Olivia began exposing his deception, Nathaniel's carefully constructed facade began to crumble. Panic overtook his usual charm, and he scrambled to cover tracks, delete messages, and intimidate anyone who might support Olivia. His erratic behavior grew increasingly transparent, revealing guilt and desperation. He attempted to manipulate Jade and Sabrina, pressuring them to lie or stay silent about the affair, but their compliance was uncertain, further undermining his control. Nathaniel confronted mutual acquaintances, trying to discredit Olivia, using charm one moment and thinly veiled threats the next. Every move, however, only highlighted his culpability. Observers began noticing inconsistencies in his statements, creating cracks in his credibility. Olivia, observing his escalating desperation, realized that Nathaniel's actions were self-incriminating. Each failed attempt to manipulate the situation reinforced her determination to gather evidence and secure her safety. His growing agitation also emboldened Olivia's family and legal allies, confirming the urgency of protective measures. Despite the fear and stress, she felt a sense of cautious empowerment, knowing that Nathaniel's unraveling behavior would expose the truth. His frantic actions inadvertently accelerated the process of accountability, and every misstep on his part provided additional proof of his deceit and moral failures. In watching Nathaniel's desperation unfold, Olivia became more strategic, recognizing that his panic was an opportunity to solidify her legal position, document his wrongdoing, and ensure that her unborn child would be protected from his influence. Recognizing the severity of the situation, Olivia formally sought legal intervention. She contacted experienced family law attorneys who specialized in cases of emotional abuse and marital betrayal, particularly when a pregnant woman's safety was at stake. The attorneys guided her through the process of compiling a comprehensive case, ensuring that every detail was documented. Security camera footage showing Nathaniel's interactions with Jade and Sabrina was secured and timestamped, becoming a cornerstone of evidence. Text messages, emails, and financial records demonstrating Nathaniel's attempts to manipulate and deceive were carefully catalogued. Olivia also provided a detailed timeline of events, noting incidents of psychological abuse, gaslighting, and neglect. The legal team emphasized that emotional abuse and endangerment of a pregnant woman could be grounds for immediate protective measures. Complaints were drafted and submitted to local authorities, outlining both the betrayal and the potential risk Nathaniel posed to Olivia and her unborn child. Every step of the legal process gave Olivia a renewed sense of control. She could act within a structured system that valued her safety, her rights, and the well-being of her baby. She attended meetings with her lawyers, reviewed documentation, and participated in strategic planning to anticipate Nathaniel's potential attempts at manipulation or evasion. While emotionally exhausting, the process empowered her, transforming fear into decisive action. Olivia understood that legal intervention was not just about accountability for Nathaniel, it was a protective shield for herself and her child. By documenting the abuse and gathering irrefutable evidence, she established a strong foundation for the next phase of confronting Nathaniel and ensuring he could not undermine her safety or authority. Authorities began formal investigations, immediately recognizing the gravity of the situation. Olivia's evidence, meticulously compiled, provided a clear picture of Nathaniel's betrayal and manipulation. Security footage, messages, and financial records corroborated her testimony, leaving little room for doubt. Law enforcement identified Jade and Sabrina, bringing them in for questioning. Both women provided consistent accounts that confirmed Olivia's claims, strengthening the legal case. Nathaniel attempted to gaslight investigators, spinning narratives and offering false explanations, but every claim was systematically refuted by the documented evidence. He even tried to bribe associates and manipulate witnesses, but the thoroughness of Olivia's preparations rendered these attempts ineffective. Authorities confirmed patterns of emotional abuse, deceit, and potential endangerment of a pregnant woman, serious offenses that required immediate attention. Olivia's family and legal team monitored every step, ensuring that her safety and the integrity of the investigation were maintained. The exposure process was carefully controlled, preventing Nathaniel from exploiting loopholes or creating false narratives. Every revelation from the investigation further discredited him, publicly and legally, highlighting the deliberate nature of his actions. Nathaniel's credibility collapsed under scrutiny, while Olivia's meticulous preparation and courage were recognized by both authorities and those supporting her. The culmination of evidence, witness statements, and investigative diligence solidified her position, ensuring that Nathaniel could not evade accountability. This exposure marked a turning point. Olivia's story was no longer a private anguish but a documented truth that demanded recognition and action. Her strategic foresight, emotional resilience, and unwavering focus protected both herself and her unborn child while paving the way for justice to prevail. After the legal exposure and investigations, Olivia begins confronting the deep emotional impact of Nathaniel's betrayal. She recognizes that the man she trusted, loved, and envisioned a life with had deceived her in the most intimate and damaging ways. The betrayal shakes her foundation, and she faces waves of guilt for not noticing sooner, anger at Nathaniel's deliberate manipulation, and sadness for the family life she had imagined. Family support becomes a lifeline. Vanessa, her sister, offers constant emotional reassurance, while her parents provide practical guidance and unconditional presence. Olivia participates in therapy and counseling sessions, where professionals help her untangle the complex emotions tied to betrayal, manipulation, and fear for her unborn child. She learns strategies to cope with anxiety, reclaim trust in herself, and rebuild her self-esteem. These sessions also prepare her for motherhood under safer circumstances, emphasizing the importance of self-protection, emotional boundaries, and empowerment. Olivia gradually shifts from feeling victimized to recognizing her own resilience. She journals her experiences, allowing her to process her feelings while gaining perspective on how she can prevent similar situations in the future. She acknowledges the trauma but refuses to be defined by it. Through structured reflection, guided therapy, and the unwavering support of her family, Olivia slowly reclaims a sense of control over her life. Each step in this emotional resolution strengthens her ability to protect her unborn child, make clear-headed decisions, and envision a future where she is no longer beholden to someone who betrayed her trust. By confronting her emotions head-on, Olivia lays the foundation for a life built on safety, autonomy, and hope, transforming pain into personal empowerment. The legal battle reaches its climax in a high-stakes courtroom. Olivia enters the courtroom prepared and resolute, backed by her family and legal team. She presents comprehensive evidence documenting Nathaniel's deceit, emotional abuse, and endangerment of her and her unborn child. Security footage vividly illustrates his secret meetings with Jade and Sabrina, while recorded communications and financial records demonstrate manipulation and attempts to conceal wrongdoing. Expert testimony from psychologists, family counselors, and forensic specialists confirms the emotional and psychological abuse Olivia endured. The judge listens attentively as Olivia calmly narrates her experiences, detailing not only the shocking discovery but also Nathaniel's repeated patterns of manipulation and control. Her delivery reflects courage, clarity, and determination, leaving little room for doubt. Witnesses corroborate her testimony, including friends, family, and staff who observed Nathaniel's erratic and deceptive behavior. Legal arguments emphasize the risk posed to a pregnant woman, reinforcing the need for protective measures. After reviewing the evidence, the court rules decisively in Olivia's favor. Custody rights for the unborn child are granted solely to her, and restraining orders are issued against Nathaniel, preventing any further contact or influence. Protective measures are enforced to ensure her and her child's ongoing safety. Nathaniel's credibility collapses publicly, and the courtroom verdict symbolizes not only legal accountability but also the triumph of truth and preparation over deceit. For Olivia, this judgment is a validation of her courage, meticulous evidence gathering, and unwavering determination to protect her family. It marks a pivotal turning point, allowing her to move forward without fear, knowing that justice has been served and that her child's welfare is legally and securely safeguarded. With the courtroom battle concluded, Olivia focuses on healing and preparing for her new life. She moves into a secure home, carefully selected to ensure privacy and safety, creating a space of peace and stability for herself and her unborn child. Physical recovery from the stress and anxiety of the betrayal becomes a priority, alongside emotional recovery, supported by therapy sessions, family counseling, and consistent communication with trusted loved ones. Olivia designs her home to be nurturing and calming, filling it with elements that promote a sense of security and joy. She maintains regular prenatal care, ensuring her twins are healthy and well monitored, and she develops routines that balance self-care, rest, and preparation for motherhood. Family involvement is consistent and loving, helping her with day-to-day tasks, planning for the baby's arrival, and offering reassurance as she navigates her emotions. Slowly, Olivia begins reclaiming her independence, reconnecting with hobbies, personal interests, and social circles that were previously overshadowed by Nathaniel's presence and manipulation. Each small accomplishment reinforces her autonomy, confidence, and sense of self-worth. Planning for her future, Olivia also considers long-term safety and legal protections, ensuring she will never be in a vulnerable position again. Over time, the combination of family support, structured healing, and personal determination allows her to shift from survivor to proactive architect of her new life. Olivia's focus on emotional well-being, health, and security lays the groundwork for a stable, nurturing environment in which her twins will grow. This period marks the beginning of a life rebuilt on resilience, empowerment, and hope, a life where betrayal no longer dictates her path. As Olivia settles into her new life, she channels her experiences into advocacy. Recognizing the widespread prevalence of emotional abuse, manipulation, and marital betrayal, she collaborates with organizations that focus on supporting pregnant women and domestic abuse victims. She participates in awareness campaigns, writes articles, and speaks at events, offering her story as a testament to courage, resilience, and the power of careful planning and evidence gathering. Olivia mentors other victims, sharing practical strategies for identifying signs of manipulation, gathering proof, and seeking legal and emotional support. Her reflections on her own journey inspire hope, showing that even in moments of profound betrayal, survival, safety, and justice are achievable. She partners with advocacy groups to create educational resources about the emotional risks pregnant women may face, emphasizing the importance of family support, professional counseling, and legal preparedness. Through workshops, online forums, and public talks, Olivia encourages open conversations about domestic betrayal, helping others recognize abuse before it escalates. This advocacy work also reinforces her personal healing, allowing her to transform past pain into constructive action. By turning her story into a catalyst for change, Olivia reclaims agency not only in her life but also in the lives of countless other women who face similar challenges. Each interaction, speech, and published account serves as a symbol of courage and resilience. Olivia's advocacy demonstrates the power of truth and preparation, emphasizing that survivors can rise above trauma and inspire systemic awareness, protection, and support. Olivia reflects on the turbulent journey she endured, recognizing the immense courage, strategic foresight, and resilience required to survive and protect her unborn twins. Nathaniel has faded from her life, legally barred from interfering, leaving her with the freedom to rebuild and embrace motherhood fully. She observes the nurturing home she has created, a space of security and love, filled with family support and the anticipation of welcoming her children. The hardships she faced serve as reminders of her own strength, the importance of vigilance, and the power of self-advocacy. Olivia also considers the broader impact of her story. It has become a source of hope and inspiration for other victims, demonstrating that betrayal, abuse, and manipulation can be confronted and overcome with careful planning, courage, and legal recourse. The epilogue emphasizes the transformation from fear and uncertainty to empowerment, autonomy, and restored confidence. Olivia's life is now defined by the choices she makes, her ability to protect her family, and her commitment to helping others navigate similar circumstances. Every moment of advocacy, healing, and reflection contributes to a legacy of resilience, illustrating that even after profound betrayal, truth, justice, and personal strength can prevail. The final reflection portrays a woman who has reclaimed her life, emerges stronger than ever, and embodies hope for others. Olivia's journey underscores that survival is not merely about endurance but about actively shaping a future grounded in safety, love, and empowerment. Her story concludes with triumph over deception, illustrating that resilience and justice can restore not only security but also peace of mind and emotional fulfillment.